Alright, so this is a video on how we can solve multi-step inequalities. Okay, and the questions that I'm going over are questions from your homework. Lesson 7 practice. I know it says lesson 5 up here, but lesson 7. The biggest thing about solving inequalities is that you have to treat them exactly the same as an equation, except when it comes to when you divide or multiply by a negative number. Otherwise, everything else is the same. We draw a line through the actual inequality. We figure out where our variables are, or what our variable is, and in this case it's n. Okay, so I have two n's on this side, and the biggest thing to recognize is both of those n's are on the right side. So that means I have to combine these values. I have to do negative 8n minus 7n first. And the biggest thing here is if you're making mistakes with negative, use your calculator. Don't try to do the mental math out and make mistakes all the time. You gotta work on figuring out how you can get this right correctly. Negative 8 minus 7 is going to give us a negative 15n. The 6 drops down. The inequality sign stays the same, and 21. So now the question is, all right, where is my variable? Again, my variable is on the right side. It's with the 15. That's its coefficient. So now I have to work through, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and we're working our way from bottom up. I want to try to move anything from the right side to the left side, and I'm going to first start with, is there anything being added or subtracted? And initially we might see this minus 15 as it's being subtracted, but it says, when we talk about adding or subtracting or multiplying, dividing, it's corresponding to the n. And negative 15 is being multiplied by n, not added or subtracted. So this is this step, multiplying and dividing. We care about then, you can't do anything with this because that's multiplying and dividing. To worry about adding or subtracting. And this 6 is currently there. So I need to leave you with this positive 6 by subtraction. When we subtract, this goes away. 21 minus 16 is 15, is greater than or equal to. This whole part, negative 15n, has to come down. So now the question is, all right, where's my variable? Again, my variable is n. And what's going on to the variable? Currently it's being multiplied by negative 15. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Divide by negative 15. This will go away. 15 divided by negative 15 is negative 1. Now because I divided by a negative number, my inequality sign switches n. So normally you could leave it like this, but when we're doing the inequalities, we're writing them 3 different ways. The first way is making sure that my variable comes first, and then I have to flip the inequality a second time. That's one way. The second way is in graph form. Okay, and we got negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. And because my inequality sign is the greater than or equal to, okay, if I ever have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to on my graph, I want to use a closed circle because I'm including it. So closed circle at negative 1. The arrow's pointing to the right, so I'm going to fill it in going to the right. And the last part I have to do is dealing with the intervals. Because anytime I have a greater than, I start with the number that I have, which in this case is negative 1, and going to infinity. All right, so this is number 1 from homework from lesson 7.